Hey there, singer. Today I want to talk to you about something that seems so basic and yet gets overlooked so frequently. I want to talk to you about preparing our minds and our bodies to sing in a way that is free and that is comfortable and that allows for the most creativity. Now, it is no secret or no strange thought to us that our mind affects our bodies. What we are thinking affects the chemicals that are flowing through our bodies, maybe how tense or relaxed our muscles may be. If we are thinking about happy thoughts or if we are thinking about scary things and fear is entering, our body is going to react to our thoughts. On the other hand, the flip of the coin, our mind also reacts to the way our body is feeling. If our body is tired, our mind is going to react. Our mood is going to be different. If we are hot or if we are cold, you shiver. Maybe your muscles are more tense. They're trying to find some way to work to get the body more comfortable. But all of this is to say that there is no separating the mind and the body, and we all work in a way that they are interconnected, some of us more than others, but it even infiltrates our social circles and the way that we interact with other people, and not just the way we perform certain tasks. Now, when you're coming into singing, into a room, into a performance, into a leadership position, it is no different. So what we need to do is stop treating it like it's different. Stop treating it like we can just do 100 choices of different activities over here and then walk into this environment and turn on the singing of whatever emotion we're supposed to be singing about and expect it to happen. I want you to get yourself into a place of understanding that you were created to have your mind or your psyche, if you will, and your body to be interconnected. You can't separate them, so stop trying or stop acting like they're not connected. So what does this have to do with singing really? One of the things that you can employ this process in is the connection between talking and singing. So there are times when we approach a certain section of a song and we think, oh my goodness, this song is so hard, or this section is so hard. I hate the bridge, it goes so high. Maybe the melody changes, and we've put our brain into this anticipation mode, anticipation of negative things. And then our body, our voice, the mechanism that controls our voice is starting to react the same way. But we don't do that when we're talking necessarily, or really at all. We walk into talking and we just know we need to communicate, and we have these emotions that we're going to communicate, and we have these thoughts that we're going to communicate, and we do it. So when you get into that point, into that mindset of, oh, this is hard, one of the ways to get around that is to talk. Maybe you're going to take the specific lyrics and just talk them. Maybe you're going to find a poem that you enjoy, that brings you joy, a book, a chapter, a monologue, have a conversation out loud with another person or with yourself, with God, where you're using your voice to talk, and it's an enjoyable experience. Then, after that, after you've reset the mind, reset the body into that easy mode, that mode that you were created to just communicate, then you can start to put in the rhythm and the pitch and the melody, which is pitch, and the lyrics, putting them all together, and see how that talking that we find so easy at times, how is that going to now inform your singing? Let the two marry a little bit. Pair the difficult with something that's simple. And it'll be interesting to see how does that change the way you sing. Secondly, I want you to understand that talking is so intrinsically connected with our emotions. When you're talking, when you're excited, you don't have to stop and think about how to be excited, how to communicate the excitement. When you're angry, you certainly aren't thinking of much other than the anger, or fearful, or any of those emotions. There's lists of emotions. Talking isn't difficult to communicate those emotions. We have the benefit in singing of looking at having the lyrics ahead of time, being able to look at them, being able to study them. Take that advantage. Connect that with your emotions. Maybe meditate on what does this mean. If you are working on a character piece, maybe it's musical theater, maybe it's a standalone song, it's a pop song, or it's a Christian song. Get into the emotions. Take the advantage that you have of being able to see, what am I trying to communicate right now? And again, connect that in the talking area, and then add in the musicality and see how that informs, how does that change the way that you communicate the songs that you have stepped into the spotlight to communicate. Thirdly, I want you to take a look at your environment. We all know that there are certain rooms in our house that elicit emotions. There are certain rooms in maybe your school building or outside that you go certain places to relax, and you go other places to have fun or excitement, or you go to the gym for loud events. You go to the library, and all of a sudden your demeanor changes. When it comes to singing, especially rehearsing, practicing by yourself, choose your space intentionally. If you are struggling with this mind-body connection and getting into a good mindset for practicing, take a look. Where are you practicing? What does it feel like? Is it comfortable? And if it's not, what is uncomfortable about it? Maybe you can change the physical space itself. Maybe you can add something to the room, take something away, or find another room, find another space. Get to a place where you feel comfortable. And then what you can do is you can, as that place gets more comfortable, and maybe you've got a song that you feel is really well prepared, now challenge yourself and prepare in a different spot. Maybe go to that little uncomfortable spot or a really uncomfortable spot. If you tend to practice in a really small room, go to a larger room. If you have access to a school and you usually practice in a small enclosed practice room that is often the sound is really dead, try going into the choir room. Try going into the band room or the orchestra room and hear how those rooms absorb sound differently. If you can get a hold of an auditorium, whether it's a small studio setting or a large auditorium with 1,000 seats, 800 seats, I don't care, 200 seats, find different rooms and start to challenge yourself. That's a good progression of preparing yourself as a musician to face different situations. If you can do that by yourself, then when it starts to come time to present music in different acoustical environments, you've already taken away some of the surprise, and you've prepared your body for that space. Fourthly, the next step that I want you to think about when you are practicing and working on this mind-body connection is to be intentional about the content that you're practicing during your practice time. It is not a good idea to grab the hardest song that you have and work on it for 30 minutes straight, beginning to end. You're going to fatigue your brain, you're going to fatigue your voice, you're going to fatigue your overall energy. your ability to persevere and to even want to finish the song. No matter how much you may love the song at the beginning, if you throw yourself into the lion's den without any help to begin with, you're going to be scratching and clawing your way out, and have no desire to jump back in. So, of course, I've done other videos on what is a good practice strategy as far as content. But what I want you to really understand when it comes to mind-body connection is you need to vary the amount of really difficult stuff that you're handling in a practice time and the stuff that you just enjoy and the stuff that you do well. Not only does that feed your brain when you tackle something hard and you accomplish something in that section, but then also you, in your brain, give yourself a little bit of fun and a reminder of these are the sections I do well, and this is why I love to do what I do. And then for, even beyond the brain, but also the muscles and the physicality of it, you're going to really push through and work through these difficult sections. Maybe it's rhythmically, maybe it's the pitches themselves, the intervals are difficult to hear harmonically or melodically, or it's just the registers switching from one to the other. And you work on that a little bit at a time, and then you give your body a break by moving to a section that it doesn't have to think so hard about and it doesn't have to work so hard on. All of these things, these variations, are going to keep up your stamina physically, your stamina mentally, your stamina emotionally. And at the end of a practice session, you're going to be able to turn around and look at and see what you've accomplished. And that is going to prep you for the next time to come into that practice space. So, just a recap. We talked about knowing that your mind and body are connected and embracing that, because there's no fighting it. There's no getting around it. That when you are struggling with singing, to take a step back and go to the most basic form of communication, or one of the more basic forms of communication that we have, is talking. Something that is familiar, something that comes rather easily to most of us, at least in some situation, even if you're not a talker in every situation. I want you to understand that talking is connected to emotions, and as a singer, we get to pause and think about our emotions being connected to the lyrics that we're communicating, the music that we're communicating. We also talked about checking your environment, making your environment optimal, and only challenging that as you're ready to challenge it, and incrementally challenging it, and not throwing yourself onto this. You don't practice on the stage in front of a huge audience. So don't practice in an uncomfortable situation any other time either. And then, of course, choosing the way you practice, the content that you practice when you're practicing, choose it strategically, and spend time making sure that you're hitting many different facets of your singing abilities. If any of these things resonates with you, I want you to go back and apply them to your practice time and see what changes you are making, and be excited for those changes, because you're growing and you're becoming a more communicative artist, and you're reaching out to people's hearts more fully. If any of this information is helpful and encouraging to you, feel free to subscribe and hit the like button so that you can continue to be notified when more content that is relevant and helpful to you becomes available. Sing your best.